Oh my gosh, here he is. Here he is. Look, what's Kurt holding up there? Link in the bio. Oh, flame finger. The flaming finger.
Oh, you too.
May the flame be with you.
May the
That's it.
Oh man.
Good to see you guys. Good to see everybody. We're in treat for an awesome show. This is the show that we provide a little bit of a background and some opinions on a famous album, and also in about an hour's time we'll go through and we'll do the first ever channel live draw for the competition we've been running for a while. Look forward to that. And we'll just talk about some other bits and pieces. I think the Rev's got some bits and pieces to show us, and that should just be about it, gentlemen.
Yeah, I apologize. Early on, I have a house full of people, so if you guys hear any ruckus or screaming, it's just a little party going on while I'm in here in my office.
Well, the only thing that I have about that is that you've put some pizza in the oven, and Brad and I aren't going to get any pizza, mate. So that's what I'm upset about. You're going to be eating pizza in front of us.
Fire up the fax machine. I'll send you over a couple slices.
Awesome. Have you guys got the chat open?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to get you then, the Rev, to go through and do a quick shout out. We've got some people in here hanging out with us.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. We got Christopher Sawa. I hope I said that right. We got the one and only Fruitcake, Tony. We got Daddy Bean, Johnny Bean. Daddy Bean. Mark Tanner. Nelson Rodriguez, Nerd Halen. We got Texas Jackdaw, Derek Clacton, Amanda Coombs, and anyone else I may have missed. That's who I see in the chat. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, cool. It's always a pleasure and an honor, and we're always humbled to have anyone. Yep.
You got the raid?
At least it's not cop sirens. That's something that Brad's always used to.
That's funny.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
You beat me to it, Brad. Thank you.
I won't tell anyone, I promise.
Johnny wants some pizza too. Johnny, I'll email you some.
Yeah, we all want some.
You know what, guys? I probably won't get any pizza if I'm going to be on here for a couple hours. It'd just be Coke Zero for me. The little guys.
You can't go wrong with that. Hey guys, I just want to do a
make my arms look big like Brad's.
I want to do a special shout out to Caleb's dad. I think it's his 84th birthday today, or was it yesterday? So special shout out to Mr. Rappaport.
Yeah,
definitely.
got a couple good kids there. Look like they went to lunch somewhere on the pier somewhere. Look like maybe Caleb's brother.
I'll just take you guys on a little detour. One of the reasons why I have a lot of admiration and respect for Caleb's dad, beside him being Caleb's dad, and that's probably important enough. Years and years ago, when I was at primary school here in New Zealand, we did a study on the Aberfan disaster, which is the landslide that happened in Wales, and it took out a village, or a school. And yeah, I remember, that was a study. That was something that we spoke about, and it was, when you're 7 or 8 or 9, it's like, wow, it's a bit of a shock. But Caleb's dad was there not long after, and he's responsible for taking a whole lot of photos and getting close with the people and listening and sharing their stories in grief. So well done, Mr. Rappaport, for doing that.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, well done.
So what have we got planned, guys? Besides the t-shirt draw, that's all I know that we're doing.
So I see we've coordinated our wardrobes today, finally.
Oh, yeah.
Mine's gray. I don't
know. Okay.
Supposed to match the hair.
Okay, it's still there. That's the main thing.
Yeah. No, look, you guys are looking slick.
That's it.
Did you guys know that this is the first photo that anyone ever saw of the band Van Halen in person?
No.
Yeah. I think these photos came out before the album came out. I read in Renoff's book that these pictures were the very first public photos of the group. That was kind of cool. But I was telling Johnny or Andrew, I've been getting into vinyl, so it's kind of cool collecting these vinyl, even though I don't even have a record player yet. They're all books. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something quite unique about vinyl that you can't get from anything else. So there's a mystique behind vinyl as well.
Yeah, I just picked up Appetite for Destruction a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I remember, and I know this is a PG show, but I remember my brother had that. I think it was a vinyl, and I remember in his bedroom one night and opening it up and seeing the photo of the girl there on the sidewalk. 84. Yep. I was like 9 years old, and I was just like, "What's that?" Yeah, it's still there. It's on the new one.
It's a pretty iconic record, that one. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. There you go.
Awesome.
I can't tell if that's Brad or if that's Slash.
That's Slash, man. That's Slash.
So, Van Halen, man, what do you call this album? The debut album? Van Halen 1? Yep. Van Halen? What do you guys call it?
Debut album, yep.
Debut album.
Yep.
What an iconic album. A lot of the people probably have heard my story, but this was my second Van Halen album I ever received. And tons of childhood memories listening to this album. Over and over and over. Something about the reverb in that album kind of reminds me of like listening in the dark, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time as a kid with headphones on, listening to this first album at night, laying in bed, and just the echo and the album, for some reason it like represents, almost like being in a cave kind of to me. But it's a toss-up between 5150 and this first album for me. In fact, I was listening to on the way home from family pictures with my son, and there was like the first 3 songs we were jamming out to. I was just like, man, I need to listen to this more. Just some great songs on this record. And we're a diverse group here. And I think this is Dave's best work. Which we'll get into it a little bit later, but some of the vocals that he did on this album were outstanding. And some of the lyrics and songwriting that he did is outstanding. And I started reading Greg Renoff's book again, Van Halen Rising. So I read the chapter from when the band got signed through recording this album. And dude, Dave like almost he wasn't going to be part of this recording. And he busted his butt to stay in this group. And he busted his butt to impress Ted. And Ted busted his butt to keep Dave and to mentor Dave. And I don't know, I think it's pretty cool that some singers, it takes 1 or 2 albums for them to catch their stride or catch their groove. And I think Dave caught his groove on this first album. And that's rare. So props to him. You know, he's young. And who knows? The guy partied probably quite a bit. I think he still smokes. But damn, his voice is probably shot over the years, still trying to do some of the stuff he did when he was 21, 22 years old. But yeah, I don't know. I could talk forever about this album, but that's kind of my first thoughts about it, Andrew, just to kind of get it started.
I think what's really interesting about this album, and indeed a lot of bands, especially from America and the English bands, when they were recording their first, second, or even their third albums. And we got to remember this, that they did a lot of touring. Touring was a big part of what a band did back then. You know, it's something I think that we have to bear in mind when we discuss this album and indeed go back and, you know, revisit some of these other albums and other aspects of the band for future shows. That, you know, they were a touring band, you know, a performing band. And yeah, I think sometimes, and especially when some newer generation fans come into Van Halen, because they're going to come in, I think it's a point that some of us veterans have to point out, especially, you know, how many gigs did Van Halen do in the backyards, you know, of houses in California. You know, they were jamming at an early age and performing and honing their craft, Kurt and Brad.
100%.
Rinse and repeat on the touring. You know, they did that every year till 84. And let's face it, they didn't take it easy on the road. I mean, Dave was pushing it hard. They were doing radio interviews. They were doing record signings. They were doing, you know, they were partying. I'm sure they were smoking pot. They were drinking. They were smoking cigarettes. He was probably just brutalizing his voice those first 6 years, you know, 7 years.
Yeah. Well, Noel Monk talks about it a couple of times, doesn't he? That if Dave didn't get his stash, you know, he was a bit grumpy, you know, and you know, he, you know, so yeah. If he didn't get his share of girls and his share of stash, he was a grumpy guy. So, you know, yeah.
What about you, Brad?
For me, this album just, you know, you can hear a bunch of young guys coming out. There's a a dynamic and energy on this record that, they seem to capture every time, in my opinion. But this one's quite unique because you can tell everything was done fairly rapidly in a sense with this record. Their influences were shining through a little bit on this record as well. I think more so. I mean, they pop up here and there throughout the records, past this record, past the first debut album. But the reason it's such a great debut album for a band is because there's a sense of energy and urgency in the recording process. I think they obviously they demoed and stuff like that, but hadn't done anything on this level before, and it was like a new experience. And they were so uniquely talented that they managed to get through it the way they did. I mean, the more I listen to the record, especially in the last few weeks of really analysing this one, the more slight imperfections I hear, which make it perfect, if that makes sense. There's little imperfections in the record that make it unique, make it magical. And I love that. And, just even down to listening to, the tuning thing and everything like that we went through with Alan and things like that you went through last week, listening to those things again, Andrew, and reassessing those things and everything. That's been really quite unique as well. So thank you, Alan, for bringing a lot of that to our attention, because you listen to these records and you don't really sort of concentrate too heavily on that stuff. You're just listening to the music that they've captured. But then when you listen to, for me anyway, it was good to go back and listen to it. And I was on a long trip, so I was listening in a car, and I'm panning it like on my stereo, listening to particular parts. Just going, I'm going to listen to just Ed's side here and listen to what's going on there, and then listen to the overdub part. So I guess it's like listening to the isolated tracks a little bit, if that makes sense. But
yeah.
But
I think what we should all do, and everyone in the chat too should probably contribute their comment on it, is we should talk about the first time that we became aware or conscious of this album. And we've discussed it before, but this is probably a good time, guys, Brad and Rev, to talk about it. So I'd like to volunteer and go ahead first. So I was it was 1981. I was in the fourth form of college, and I was hanging out with a guy called Garth Blomfield, and him and I we'd become fast friends, and we were listening to Neil Young. He got me into Neil Young, so I was listening to Neil Young and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, which incidentally I was accused of listening to old music. This is back in 1981 by some of my school friends. And anyway, I remember, and I was smoking back then, like a lot of my friends. We used to go back in the school field and have a cigarette, share one cigarette between five of us. Anyway, and we had the big cassette players. You remember the big cassette players that used to take size D batteries, and they would only play like one cassette, and then they would go flat. And I remember we went out to the back of the field, and I lit up the ciggy. And he played, he said, he knew he had something hot. And he said, listen to this. And he played Eruption. And I remember sitting there, and I hadn't heard anything like that in my life. And I remember, and it wasn't the nicotine of the cigarette, but I remember walking back to class after being elevated. I was elevated. I was giddy, and I had this huge smile on my face because I had heard something that I hadn't heard ever, and in that tone, and that there was something there. Because back then it was, Tom Petty was on the radio, and Police and Bob Marley. And a lot of this, commercial stuff that was really good, but didn't sound anything like this. And I remember that would have been about a Wednesday or a Thursday. And I remember borrowing some money off my mum because I didn't have enough to go into town on the Friday night to get this album. And I listened to this album all weekend. It was just phenomenal. It was just Yeah, I did nothing all weekend.
Yeah.
Andrew, I went from Huey Lewis Sport, Billy Joel. What's the album that came out with the doo-wop? The big Billy Joel album. So for me, it was
Yep.
It was Huey Lewis, Billy Joel, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Toto. Like, that's the kind of stuff I was listening to. And then my brother gave me Van Halen, and it like totally changed my life. I was 9 when I got Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2. And when I first heard Eruption, it took me like a half an hour to get through the song. I kept rewinding it because I didn't know what was going on. I kept rewinding it. And then I'd play it through and listen, rewind it. And then, the part where he, I guess we'll do it real quick where he just pulls down and does the deep bar dive,
Yep.
Oh, I mean, that was like, just put me in a translucent state as a kid. I just loved it. And, I told you guys earlier, my brother was in a band, a high school band. Shout out to Iron Horse. They did Ice Cream Man and Beautiful Girls. So when I heard Ice Cream Man, I was like, oh, this is my favorite band. I thought my brother's band wrote the song Ice Cream Man, but then I couldn't find out it was Van Halen. So I love 5150. I love Van Halen's debut album. I love Van Halen 2. Those 3 records, I mean, I listened to them for probably 4 or 5 years before I finally got, I think, OU812. So
awesome.
I literally wore them out, those 3 albums, for a good 3 years. And lots of memories.
I'm just going to interrupt you, bro, and just do a quick shout out because we've got some new cats in the chat. We've got Mark here. We've got Jay. Lenny Lou's jumped in. Robot Master Switch. Nelson. Hey, Nelson. Good to see you, bro. Van Halen Fanatic. And I think that's about it. So, yeah, sorry, guys, for interrupting, but we're going to get to the T-shirt draw soon. So just hang on there. Hang in there. We're waiting for some more people to jump in.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry
that's I don't know. I was young. I was 9 years old. 10 years old.
You see, that amazes me because I was listening to music when I was 9. I know that. But I wasn't collecting music. I didn't own any records. I didn't have cassettes. It wasn't until I was about 11 or 12 where I started possessing it. In fact, when I was 9 years old, I was still running around the backyard with my air rifle, pretending that I was in the U.S. Marines,
Yeah, no, I did both. But you got to realize I came from a music family. My grandpa.
Oh, yeah.
My grandpa was
Warren,
a Western guitar player. Both my brothers. I gotta have them on the show one of these days. But
get them on.
Yeah, so I just followed right in line with what was going on. Thank God it was good to have an older brother because my older brother would go to work and I would go into his room and it was like walking into Sam Goody. He had CDs, laser discs, bass guitars, electric guitars, and I would have a heyday in there for 2 or 3 hours, and then he'd come home and kick my ass because I was in his room. But it was awesome, That's why I started so young, is because I had 2 older brothers. And Jay's in the chat. He was the same thing. His brother is 2 or 3 years older than him, and he kind of introduced him to Van Halen as well. Same to me. And Jay and I are the same age. And Van Halen, 29 years old. Van Halen got in the studio and finished a couple days before I was born, boys, which I'll get to later on in the show, in the
Cool.
timeline. Yeah.
Brad?
Oh, the first two records, Van Halen 1, which we're talking about, I came back to. I was a 5150 carnal knowledge, then I went backwards. So that was kind of my first introduction to like David Lee Roth era was 1984. And then the next two records I bought were Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2, which I kind of saw as one record. That's kind of how I felt about them.
Yeah.
But again, I'd already heard Eruption by that point. I'd heard, I'd listened to Van Halen quite a bit. I didn't start collecting music until I started work, really. Like when I was actually working, my first thing was going out buying CDs and collecting CDs and then getting into guitar and things like that. But, for me, going backwards to the David Lee Roth era and then buying Van Halen 1 and 2, I heard a certain urgency and like I was saying before, an energy there of a band that's just trying to, put himself on the map, so to speak. So, and get heard and all that, you can really hear it. We're talking about Appetite for Destruction before. It's the same thing with that. There's a raw energy on those records, like they're unknown musicians really, other than just from touring and gigging and stuff like that, relentless gigging and trying to get themselves established. But with Van Halen 1, you can actually hear, when you listen to the recordings, you can hear there's a slight, I guess, for a lack of better ways, it's naive. They're not sure. They're just going for it. They're just doing their thing. And I think that comes across. Obviously, by the time they got to an album like 5150, they knew what they were doing. They were seasoned professionals. But at this point, they were novices and they were just going in there. And when you think about what they achieved for their first record, it's pretty mind-blowing. It's a mind-blowing record. So, but for me, it wasn't an introduction to Van Halen for me, the first record. It was like I went backwards to Van Halen 1, which, I still listen to the first two records and they blow my mind. They're just listening to Eruption. I've listened to that probably millions of times. And even though I've seen footage of him playing in that, it's still amazing to think that their age, what they were, where they were at that point in their life. Like I think about myself when around that same age bracket when they recorded Van Halen 1, like the age they were. I remember what I was doing at that age, and I was, strumming along to Smells Like Teen Spirit and things like trying to learn those sort of things. And they're in the studio recording Eruption, Running with the Devil, all these songs that are classics. So what I'm saying is it's mind-blowing. There's just magic in the room. You can hear it, and they all pushed themselves quite hard. And you can hear in the performances that they're actually trying to kick ass. They're trying to put themselves on the map, prove a time statement. Bam, we're here to stay. And that's what every time I listen to this record, that's what I hear. It's amazing.
Agreed. And it's pretty close to Appetite for Destruction. They put it all out on the line. I know where this isn't a Guns N' Roses show, but they put it all out on the line, just like Van Halen did.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys had 3 years worth of material. They had 25 songs, and they picked the best of the best.
Yeah. And they really just, they cemented themselves as an act straight off the bat. It's like they weren't going to try and ease their way in. It was like, we're coming. We're here to stay. And strong record, very strong record. And for a lot of bands, like Kurt even mentioned about singers, they find their groove after one or two albums. Well, some bands do, entire bands. Sometimes the whole band might take one or two albums to find their groove before they make a killer record. Not so much in the case of Van Halen. They came out with a bang, and unfortunately, they had some ups and downs here and there, but they were a strong sounding band regardless of who was fronting them and what era they were in or whatever. They just kept being Van Halen. That was who they were. So
I think your point is interesting, bro. I think it's really interesting, and I want to link it back to a point that the Rev made earlier on about how Dave fought to get into the band, to stay in the band, fought because he realized that these Van Halen cats were pretty cool. There was something about these Van Halen guys that he had to be part of, and I'm sure the Van Halens realized too that Dave wasn't the average lead singer that was happening, at that, so to use this word, symbiotic relationship happening there, and caught in time, and it's a cliche often, don't we hear when people describe albums, capturing points in time and all that. I don't think this album caught a specific time. I think this album caught this band, so, and that's why this album will always be, I think, a landmark album for a debut album because it wasn't something that was just handed out. It was something that they fought for. It was something. Yeah, and you can hear that, that urgency that you guys have mentioned, that rapidity. It's vibrant. Let's pull out the thesaurus and go through it, and but it captures. I think a band.
Yeah.
Just. Yeah, I can't find the words. Help me, guys.
Andrew, these guys were trailblazers. They were at a crossroads in music genre where disco was on its way out. Was punk rock gonna stay? Was the skinny tie rock gonna stay? We were 1 or 2 years before the cock rock, big hair band, butt rock, spandex. Like Van Halen paved the road for those guys. They showed them not only how to do it live, but they showed them how to do it on a record. And these guys were like the Johnny Beans of the YouTube world. They really, I hate to be cliche, but they were showing everyone, hey, this is where the music industry's going. We're going to show you how it's done, and catch up, or you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, I think you've got a good point there, bro. I think we've got to remember this, that when Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2 came out, and even Women and Children First, most of the metal or hard rock bands were in New Zealand were either Def Leppard, High and Dry. I remember Black Sabbath's Mob Rules was released, and Heaven and Hell with Ronnie James Dio, and then you had Iron Maiden, which were never a hair band, and I had mates that were listening to Saxon, so I was listening to Saxon, and also Budgie and Tigers of Pan. So you were listening to metal that wasn't quite, that Sunset Strip stuff. Yeah, good point. And then you had Van Halen over here, which just had their own category, man.
And Iron Maiden, or I'm not Iron Maiden, but Black Sabbath, when they were picking a band to open up for them, they got blown off the stage by Kiss a few years earlier. And Ozzy said, grab a bar band from L.A. that isn't going to threaten us. Oh, and that backfired on him, right? It backfired on him for sure. He said, grab a bar band from LA that's not going to threaten us.
We love Ozzy, but jeepers. Hey, Thomas, thanks. Yeah. Hey, Mike is himself. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be doing the draw soon, guys, so hang in there. We're just shooting the breeze on Van Halen 1 on the debut album.
So one thing that I totally forgot reading Greg Renoff's book, this band got signed in February of 77.
Yeah.
They didn't start recording until the end of August in 77. Finished in the end of October, and then the album came out in February. It was a whole year before the album came out after they got signed from Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers told them to take it easy. They still did a few shows, but they weren't doing 6-7 nights a week like they did 3 years prior. So it's crazy to think what the band did from February all the way till August. You know, what the heck did they do other than walk around LA saying, you know, newly signed Warner Brothers artist, the mighty Van Halen, you know? But I think if you haven't read Greg Renoff's book, Van Halen Rising, you got to get it. If you're Van
mandatory,
Halen, the stuff,
mandatory.
The stuff from the time they got signed to when they got into the recording studio is just mind blowing. You know, David Lee Roth goes to Pasadena Community College and takes a vocal singing class, and has to do 5 songs for his final, and one of them's Ice Cream Man, and he doesn't even finish the class and doesn't even finish the class. He does his 5 songs for his final, and then he never shows up again.
So who's the only guy in Van Halen that's got a high school diploma?
Did Eddie and Alex not graduate? I don't know that question.
Is it Gary Cherone? Gary Cherone's the only guy who had a high school diploma.
Really?
I don't know. I remember. I'm not. This is not a trick question, but I know none of the original classic Van Halen guys. None of them got a high school diploma.
Well, they went to college after high school.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe what I read then. See, that goes to show, guys. Don't trust everything you read on the internet. Then
call me.
Oh yeah, I should have. Okay. Okay, I'll just call you, bro. I've got your number. I'll just call you.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, Nerd Halen, I don't know if he's still in here. Johnny may know this, but yeah, they went to, and Fruitcake Tony, they went to Pasadena Community College for maybe a year. One of the things too, Dave, when they signed, Dave had them all roll their ages back 2 years. So they were all 21, 22, 23, but they were telling everyone they were 18, 19, 20. Which, you know, it's a hoax. They call the Reverend. Steve Booth, what's up, man?
Hi, bro.
Steve's a good dude. Him and I are always going back and forth on Instagram. Thanks for joining, Steve.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve.
He keeps up with me.
Oh, that's cool. And well, hold on, guys. Just hold on. I'm going to throw up some banners here. So, if you guys haven't checked out the Rev, there he is. There, I've got his address correct. For about 3 months, I was flashing the wrong address. Yeah. So this guy Kurt 5150 was getting all these fans.
He's got more followers than the president of the United States.
Yeah. So it's Kurt S 5150, guys. so yeah. Look, if you want to keep in touch with what we're doing here, that's the place. And also, there he is. There's Brad. He pumps our channel on his channel, but he's doing lots of other stuff over there. Go and have a look at some photos. If you guys are lucky enough, I might show a couple of photos that he's been brandishing around on Instagram. I've got those. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good to see you've done your hair today for us too, bro.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is gym hair, man. I've come straight from the gym here. Been training clients, and So no, I haven't done anything, mate.
Okay. Well,
that's just how I live, man. It's just like.
Hold on. You got to be careful when you do this, when you show photos, because I was watching this other YouTube channel the other day, and this guy went to show some photos, but he had some photos that he shouldn't be showing.
David Nestor?
So you got You guys, just when you're showing photos live, make sure.
And
Okay,
shadowy naughty browsers, all right, Andrew?
Brazzers.
I don't do anything like that.
Brazzers.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that chest. Wow.
Look at those biceps.
And look at all those girls behind him. Oh my! Look at that. I'm going to put that up. I'm going to put while we're talking. They're all smiling. They're all getting a good look there.
I'm not going to tell you what my first thought is.
They're probably in the background just going, "Oh my God, his leather pants are so sweaty. That's disgusting." That's probably what
he's wearing his David Lee Roth. He's wearing his.
It's assless chaps.
It's ass.
And you know what my brother says? There's no such thing as assless chaps. They're all assless.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Jeff Davidson has a good question here. Who's the oldest original member of Van Halen?
Didn't he have his birthday the other day?
Alex.
He did.
Yeah.
The original Reverend Alex Van Halen.
How old is he? Can you guys remember?
I can look it up.
60 something. He's not in his 70s, is he?
Let me look it up.
Okay.
It's probably faster on the internet than this.
No. We're old school here.
Encyclopedia Britannica I got here. Alex.
90. No, I think it'd be late 60s, surely. Maybe 60, 68.
Yeah, Eddie was what, 50? I'm gonna look it up.
4 years older than Eddie, Stephen says. So it must be what, 60. Come on, you guys, in the chat.
I'm going to tell you because he was born in 54.
Okay.
68. He was born in 53, Brad. It was a leap year.
66. 66?
It says 68 on
68. Yeah. Liddy's
Google.
right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and we got to believe everything on Google too. 69. Jeff's saying 69. Okay.
70. We got 70. How many?
70.
70, 71, 71, 72.
What are we auctioning?
This neck.
This worn out guitar pick.
Look at this thing.
Actually, have a look at how worn out this
Do I look
guitar.
tan?
Hold on. I'm going to present you. Any offers for that worn out pick? Any offers?
You see how worn out it is?
Where's this neck,
What
Rev?
size of shoes do you wear, Brad? I got a pair of sneakers over here.
Where's your
I'll
neck?
trade you.
Any offers for this neck? Yeah. Stage used.
Thank you. Previously owned by the Rev.
Oh man, Cherry One owner. It looks like someone got really happy with the vintage amber spray paint on that thing.
So what's the story with that neck? So you got it and it's no good. Oh, okay. All right. I'll present you. Grab your knife. Grab your knife. Don't grab any scissors. Make sure they're sharp.
So, as you guys know, I'm building the Bumblebee guitar. Actually, let's show some stuff here. Gotta hide it all from the wife. We got DiMarzio
Wow.
Tone zone.
Wow. Wow.
White. Oh man, I can't wait to wire this sucker up. Let me show you the Floyd. We got some Godot tuners. I don't know if you guys have used these Godos. They're the mini ones. Super nice. Excited to. Whoops, there they go. I don't know where my Floyd is. Anyway, so I ordered this neck for the Bumblebee, and it had a little bit of a yellow tint to it. And I'm like, you know what? The price is right. It's routed with a nut on it, which if any of you guys have done any kind of Luthering, like this is a pain in the ass to do it on yourself. So it was already routed for a Floyd. And I'm like, I just get it and I'll sand it down and get it to bare wood and, you know, use it. And this sucker is yellow. I mean, look at it. The fretboard, I mean, I tried sanding it. It was just going to be a hell of a job. So I ordered another one, and it came yesterday. I'm going to open it up live, but
Awesome.
It's maple. I decided that I was a good boy this year and that I deserved stainless steel frets. I've heard everyone talk about stainless steel frets. You know, the Japanese Wolfgangs come with stainless steel frets. I don't know if Jay is still in the chat. He swears by stainless steel frets. I know Johnny's got a few guitars with stainless steel frets. So I ordered this neck from a company called Northern Redfish out of Canada. So shout out to our boy Steve Anderson. This is a Canadian company. I haven't seen this neck yet, so I hope it's good. So far, so good, people.
So far, so good. Wow.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh. Wow.
Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to rub this wood. Oh, man, this is beautiful. Woo. I'm happy.
Good on you, bro. Wow.
That looks better, doesn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, 100%, bro. 100%.
Oh, this is so nice. Oh, this is ready to go.
Hold the other one up next to that for a comparison, because they've gone overboard with the yellow, haven't they? Can you hold?
What, you want me to pull my shirt up and then have Brad pull his shirt up? It'll be the same comparison.
All right. I'm pulling up. I didn't say pull it out, did I? Right. Wow, look at that. That's remarkable.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
wow.
no fret ends. Man alive. Awesome.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. I'm just going to go and grab something. Hold on.
I'm happy.
That's awesome, man. Well done. Congratulations.
Now I just got to get the body here. This is the first time, Brad. This is my third build, and every build, it's been body first, and then you get all the hardware. I have everything to put this guitar together. I mean, this box, I got jack plate, volume knob, FU tone brass claw and springs.
Wow.
I got everything. Oh, I was going to show you this too.
Oh, look at that.
Can you guys see that?
Hold it up. Oh, no.
There you
Art
go.
Series. Awesome.
Charvel Art Series, EVH, and then you see down below?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Eddie vanhalen.
2020.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm excited to get this build going, and I'm glad the neck is the color of my stomach.
Okay, so timeline. When do you hope to have that built? Have you got any time frame in mind for a show presentation?
So the body will be here either the end of the month or the 1st of June.
Cool.
I'll have it painted and ready to go in a week, probably.
Wow.
Awesome.
So mid-June it'll be done.
Mid-June.
Mid-June.
And then you can do an unveil on here. You can get the bumblebee buzzing. I'm so glad you got, I don't know, this personal thing, but I think that tone zone's going to be a killer.
Oh, me too. Everyone was going back and forth on this and that. And, Eddie always, as he said, he wrestled with that guitar and he never got the right sound out of it. And after kind of reading the DiMarzio album with how he loved the pickup on the 5150 and how it's the sound of it in the Axis and the Music Man. So it's ash body, so it's going to sound different than the basswood.
Yep.
So I think I'm not going to be able to strike out with that for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a winner. It's going to be a winner all around. And now you got the neck. The neck's the most important part, really, to me. I think if the neck feels good, and it's like that to me is why I love the Music Man over my shoulder.
Yeah, and just feeling those necks when I was doing this, the maple one was heavier, or the wood colored one compared to the yellow one. So I don't know if it was cheaper cut. I don't know.
Maybe the other one's pine wood.
Don't say that. I'm going to sell it. So
no, it's
Stephen Booth asked if my wife is aware of the new guitar build. Yes. Yes, she knows all about it. She knows I'm building one. She just doesn't know what. Every time the mailman comes with a box at the front door, she says, "You got more stuff for your guitar." So yeah, she knows. So yeah, I'm happy. That neck feels good. I don't even have to sand it. Usually I gotta do a good, sand job on the back. I'll put some True Oil on it and wax it, and it'll be ready to go.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that because to be fair, I'm a sucker for the bumblebee. I think it's just beautiful. There's just something about that color, the color choices, and also the Floyd Rose that you picked up, that antique Floyd Rose. I think that is just yeah.
Here I go as I knock down my whole.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah,
my whole office here.
Look at that.
Okay, so big brass block.
Yeah.
Can you see it's like an antique bronze.
Yeah.
And then Andrew, I took Rob Johnson's advice and I sanded down the fine tuners to make them look brass. Look at that.
Wow.
And then titanium screws.
Yeah.
Titanium inserts and titanium screws. So it's all FU toned out, and then I put a chrome handle on it. It came with a vintage bronze one.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, man. That's awesome.
And then I took
of
course I took the what do you call it off the back?
The shim.
The shim and the fingers that hold it up.
Oh, because look.
The what's that?
Bring it a little bit closer to the camera so we can see. Oh, you've taken that hold the fingers up.
Yeah, those Rob Johnson says they're tone robbers.
Oh, I thought he would. Okay, so I've seen him talk about that, and he, I hold on, guys, hold on. Let me just do something here. Hold on. So when I put this Floyd Rose on, I made sure that I took it apart
Yep.
and grabbed that little flat bar, or that plate that they have in there. I made sure, but I've still got those. Oh, hold on.
They're like fingers.
So I've got to take those fingers off.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yep. These right here.
Hold on. How is? Oh, okay. So that. Okay.
I got them both sitting here.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. I'm gonna. All right.
I just threw them away.
Oh, okay.
God, I made a mess in my office. It looks like a tornado came through here.
So,
I got eye hooks everywhere. I got tuners all over the place.
So, how many cats in the chat have done that? Have taken off that little plate, that shim, and also taken off the fingers that Kurt's.
Yeah, the fine tuner
showing it.
Fine tuner tensioners, I think they're called.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize that. I missed that. Darn it.
Yeah, they're not on my 5150, but they are on my Music Man. I haven't taken them off that yet.
No, you can't. You got to leave the Music Man because Eddie played them with the music on the Music Man, as I understand.
Okay.
As I understand, but I'm not the Rev.
John BL.
I'm not touching my Music Man. I'm not doing that to mine. So
no.
Stays as is.
I need to put a detuner on though because I can't play Amsterdam riffs or anything like that. So I've ordered a detuner to put that on. Got to have that.
I don't have a detuner either. I need to get one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're only $30 or whatever, but yeah.
So Stephen's going to do that to his 3 Wolfies tomorrow. He's going to get rid of the plate and the fingers.
Yeah. So once you get your strings tight, at the nut, those fine tuner screws are tight. Like they stay up. Let me grab my 5150.
Oh. I did not know that. See, they're eating the Rev's pizza. He's not going to get nothing. He might get a couple of crusts.
Okay, can you see?
Hold on. Yes.
Yeah, they're not in there, and it's tight. They go right back to home. It's hard to get in there.
Oh. Okay.
There goes my mic.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It stays in tune fine.
I'll do that this evening.
The problem is you have to take a picture of your intonation.
Yeah.
On that.
Well, that's what I. Yeah. I did that, and when I took it off to take off that, Jay actually gave us that advice. I used sellotape. I taped them when I took the blocks off to take that little shim bar off to make sure it goes back in sequence. So otherwise,
the other thing you can do is get titanium screws that go into your block versus the metal ones that come stock, the black ones.
So that's an FU tone.
Yeah, FU tone, or you can get them at FU Lowe's or FU Home Depot. They're a little cheaper.
FU Home Depot.
When you take your block off, just take one screw down there, and they're 59 cents at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware. Titanium.
Hey, Renus. Hey, MX Rocks. Hey, guys.
Renus says, be careful, don't put the screw in your eye.
Okay, so we're just about at the 1 hour.
We haven't even really gotten the album.
We're at the 1 hour mark. Do we want to do the t-shirt draw now, or should we just carry on? And because we've got 27 people in here, so should we wait till 30? We'll wait till 30 comes in.
Let's do it now.
Okay, then. Right. So this is where we're going to rely on everybody in the chat here to help us. So I'm going to go back to the top of the chat, and I'm going to give everyone a number. But before we do that, I want someone trustworthy and honest in the chat to go to a random number generator website or whatever, and you're going to draw the number, and obviously the number that you draw is going to be the number that's assigned to whoever in the chat. So we'll just go down from the top of the chat all the way down and go alphanumeric, go numerically. Is that the fairest way to do it? And any problems with anybody, with my co-hosts and us doing it that way?
Who wants to volunteer to be the
Draw the
number guru?
yeah.
The number guru.
The number generator, please, before we do that.
Who's been watching the show for years?
Who's honest and trustworthy?
I don't know. I'm looking through and I don't see anyone so far.
No.
Renus votes 69. I'm surprised.
Come on, I'll do it. Okay, Warren's going to do it. Okay, awesome. All right, so we thank you, Warren. Warren is the number generator.
Warren, thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Appreciate it, bro.
You're a true scholar and a
Gentleman.
amazing citizen.
Okay, so we're going to go all the way up to the top of the chat. Okay, so grab some pens, guys, because the number that I'm going to give you is your number. Okay, so we've got top of the chat, we've got Mark, your number 1.
Grab a pen, Renus. A pen.
Johnny, number 2. Warren is number 3. KXM Rock is number 4. Robo Switch, number 5. Lloyd, number 6. Lenny Lou is number 7. Jeff Davidson is number 8. Stephen Booth, 9. Thomas Santiago, 10. Fruitcake Tony, 11. Nelson, has Nelson got a number? I can't remember. Are you there, Nelson? Number 11. Robot Switch, number 12. Brian, number 13. Okay, 13. Hold that number 13. Where's Girth Brooks? 14. Christopher Sowa, 15.
Don't forget Johnny
Renus,
Bean TV. He's in here too.
16. He's got a number.
No, there's 2 Johnny Beans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's Johnny Bean and then there's Johnny Bean TV.
No. Okay.
He says, "Hi, I'm new."
Hold on. Stephen Booth, Jeff, okay, Nelson. Where's Nerd Halen? I'm waiting for Brian Sporting's got a number. Nerd Halen, 17. Okay, so does everybody have a number? Everybody here that we're up to number 17, everybody here that's in the chat, did I call out your name and give you a number?
Any of the lurkers floating around in there, put a comment up now. Now's your chance to get in the draw.
Lurky lurk. Nerd Halen, you're 17. Just like your age.
Christopher.
So Christopher's got a number. So you've all got your numbers, because don't ask me to all of the co-hosts, because we haven't been writing them down. So does everybody have a number?
I've been looking at this neck. I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. Okay. Everyone has a Give us your numbers, because I want to have your numbers here on the chat, so that when we draw it, there's no discrepancies. You guys have said, but I'm number 6.
Johnny, don't lose that number.
It's the only one you got. That's good.
Readers, don't lose that number.
Okay. So does everyone have a number? Going. Gone. Everyone's got a number. We've got 25 people watching and only 17 numbers given. Okay.
Well, I'm probably on. I'm one of them. I'm one of the people watching, so don't count me.
Okay. Halen, no. Halen Fanatic, you did not get a number. You're number 18. Number 18 is, write your number down. Anybody else, please? 18, Halen Fanatic, you're number 18. Did everyone? Okay. Okay, awesome. So one last call. We've got there's 28 people watching, and all you have to do is say hi with your number.
That's our drum roll.
Okay, cutting heads. You're number 19. Write that down. Renus is disqualified. Okay, so what do you reckon, guys? We'll get. Should we get Warren to pull finger and generate the number? What do you guys reckon?
Yeah. Does Warren have the variables 1 through?
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. So
another one.
Who?
Steve Franklin.
Steve Frank. Okay, Steve, hold on. Steve, you're lucky, Steve. You're number 19, Steve.
Steve comes in by the corner of the front nose and the back side.
Okay, we're going to get ready for the T-shirt draw. Okay, all right, we're ready. Warren. Okay, Warren, who is number 12? Who is number 12? Present yourself, number 12. Present your and start again. Number 12. Oh, you're joking. Daddy Bean. Oh, not me. Oh.
How did you get so many 12s on there? That was fast.
He's fast.
Come on, you guys. This is serious business here. Who's number 12?
KXM Rock said he had number 12.
Is that? Oh, okay.
No, he's 4. He's put 4 in the comments.
Oh, he did.
Oh.
Let's go back to the tail of the tape. Okay, who was before Brian Spalding?
Yeah, Brian Spalding's number 13. I can't remember. Maybe
and Fruitcake Tony's number 11.
Okay. Well, easy. I'll just go up here. So Brian's. We'll just do it this way.
Robot Master Switch says he's 5 and 12. Son of a gun. Should we do a redraw?
No, because we've drawn 12. Someone just has to come out and say who they are. Someone should go through this month's.
It's in between Robot Master Switch and B Spalding.
I think I'm 11 or 12. I think Nelson might be right. I think Nelson might be number 12. Come on, guys! We told you to remember your numbers. Jeepers! Ah, redraw.
Should we go back? Okay, I'm going to do something. Hang on. I'm going to go back and listen to the numbers.
Okay.
I'm going to go through and listen to the numbers, guys, while you're talking. All right.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
we're going to do it fair, I reckon. So let's.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All you guys had to do was just write your number down.
Number 9, number 9, number 9.
Oh, gosh. On the White Album, that'll have to be one of the worst Beatles songs ever.
I know.
That's what happens when you take lots of heroin.
Yep.
Okay. So Brad's he's gonna go and listen to number 12. Whoever had number 12 left. Okay, well, he's gonna go and listen. He's gonna go back and listen, guys, to see who we designated number 12, because you have to be in the chat. The whole idea was you have to be in the chat to win it. So if we do a redraw, we'll go through again, and I'll get the Rev. He can go out and give the bloody numbers this time.
You guys won't like my answer.
Yeah, because you have to be in the chat. 19 is right here, cutting heads.
Johnny Bean TV. That was pretty good.
There's someone having a party in the background. Sounds festive. That's right, Robot.
It's my house.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'll go tell them to shut up. Robot Master Switch. How are them Biddle Honeys?
Who's number 12?
All right, I went back to the watch it at, I think it's where are we? It was Robot Master Switch.
Yeah,
yes!
his thing said he was 5'12". Awesome.
Okay, and is Robot Master Switch here? Awesome.
Yeah.
So there you go. I just did some research, had to go back, listen. I had to drop out, guys. Sorry about that.
No problem. We knew Brad was on the job. Robot Master Switch, you're a champion. I will give you my email address, and we need to talk. You need to obviously tell me the size and the T-shirt that you want, and obviously your address, and we'll get the Van Halen store to ship it to you. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations.
Robot Master Switch, go to vanhalenstore.com and pick out your T-shirt, right?
Oh, sorry, Black Samalami. Sorry.
Keep going.
Thank you, Christopher. Yeah, we try and do our best. Okay, so Robot Master Switch is the first winner of our channel's first ever competition. So that's a monumental step for you in social media history.
Robot Master Switch.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you, Warren, for so here's my email. Robot. Somewhere is my email. Hold on. Oh gosh. There it is. Oh, okay. Discord. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Cheers, robot. We'll talk there.
Robot Master Switch, good job. I'm gonna give another T-shirt away in the near future.
Yeah, well, we're going to do more and more competitions, obviously. I'm thinking what we might do on the Sunday show is we might do a competition with one of Brad's T-shirts. So we all do the same thing. We'll have a competition and the same thing. We'll do the same thing there. You tell us what it is, and email me, and we'll pay for it and we'll get it shipped to you. So that's really cool. We really appreciate you guys. The channel had over 120 subscribers since we generated the competition. So, you know, obviously the T-shirt draw had a lot to do with that. Sonia, how are you, Sonia? Thank you for joining us. No, this is not from the Van Halen store. These are specially commissioned for the 5150 show. You have to be a co-host. You have to be a co-host to get these.
It's an elite group. I had Fruitcake Tony ask me about these T-shirts too. Yeah, go to the Van Halen store, Robot Master Switch, and any T-shirt on there that fixes your fancy.
Yeah. We'll talk on. We'll talk on DM on Johnny's Discord, and we'll get it sent to you ASAP. What I'd like you to do, if it's okay, Robot, I'd like you, if you could, when you got it, if you can grab your phone, and if you wanted to do a video, just a quick unboxing video for us, and send it to us so that we can play it here on the channel, that would be really cool if you could do that for us.
Yeah, damn straight.
Unless you wanted to come on live and unbox it.
Should we get into the album a little bit?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'm just shooting the breeze. Yeah, you're running the show, bro.
Hey, sorry, I got boxes here, stuffed everywhere.
Yeah.
So, a little bit about the album. I know a lot of people are on here wanting to hear about Van Halen's debut album. I apologize for the background noise. There's probably 15, 20 people here. But it is what it is. This album was released on February 10th, 1978. Recorded August, September, and a little bit of October 1977. I was born the next month. So I was born November 9th, 1977. So they had finished the album or were probably mixing it when little Kurt Snyder was born. Let's show a photo of me as a baby, just for the hell of it. What do you think? Give me a second here, Andrew, to find way deep in the caverns of my photos. Give me a second here. Shoot, do I have any photos of me? I think I do. Hold on. I was the middle child, so my family didn't take a lot of photos of me. They took a lot of photos of my other brothers, but not me. Here we go. Look at that.
And they put in, is that your name on the shirt as well, Kurt?
Yep, Reverend.
Wow.
They put your name on there so they knew which kid you were.
Well, not that one.
Oh. Wow, what a sweetie. Oh, there he is. Batters up. Oh, look at that. Look at that 90s hairdo he's got on.
Yeah,
oh
96.
My gosh. Wow.
braided leather belt. That was my one of my senior photos.
There he is. And he ate all that cake too, I bet.
That's fruitcake Kurt right there.
Oh my God!
I'm surprised my parents put me in a car seat.
Simon.
All right, that's it. Anyway,
Shout out to Simon.
Simon, what's up? So, 1977, they recorded what? Recording
sorry,
that
bro.
album.
Sorry, bro.
There you go.
Sorry.
3 weeks to record the album, a few weeks to mix it. The album spent 169 weeks on the charts, reached number 19 in the US, number 34 in the UK. It was certified gold in May and platinum in November 10th, 1978, the day after my first birthday. This first album went platinum. So it was like destined that I was a Van Halen fan. And you guys all saw this photo. This was the day before Van Halen went platinum, right here.
Wow.
I'm kind of pissed my parents didn't get me this album for my first birthday. So Brad, Van Halen was LA's biggest hot new band. They spent the last 3 years doing the club scene. Prior to being signed, they did shows within a 100-mile radius of LA. They didn't really span out too far down to San Diego or up north to San Francisco. They stayed within about a 100-mile radius. Doug Messenger was a guitar player for Van Morrison. He actually kind of tried to help promote Van Halen, and he had actually told Ted Templeman to check out Van Halen a little bit prior to them being signed by Warner Brothers. But Van Halen kind of was their own promoter for quite a few years. They spent a lot of time in the clubs, but they also spent a lot of time doing their own shows where they would just rent a party hall, and they'd get a keg of beer and they'd hand out flyers, and they would just have 100, 200, 300 people come, and they would charge $5, $3 at the door, all you can drink beer. And they kind of gained popularity by doing their own thing. What do you want to say, Andrew?
Just to say goodbye to Jay. He's going on ice, so sleep tight, Jay.
Don't let the bed bite, Jay. Yeah, so they kind of were their own promoters. They made their own flyers. They booked their own gigs, which was, I don't know if it was rare back then, but they did the hard work to get to where they were. And I think their motive was like water on rock, where eventually they're going to get signed. They're going to do it the hard way. And eventually they were signed. So they spent a lot of time on Sunset Strip in Hollywood. They promoted their own shows. I talked about they played in rental halls, but they also played in people's backyards or people's parks, in the park where they just invite people, or they would play in school dances. That was a big thing. And they kind of just played wherever they could. And I think I read where Alex and Eddie said they were playing upwards to 6 to 7 days a week. They were playing a gig for, a couple years, which is crazy.
That's something Canadians do, isn't it?
Yeah, cornhole. Yep. Brad, you talked about this earlier. Early influences of the band. These are just a few that I have written down. You guys feel free to chime in on if I've missed anyone, but I put down the biggest one were the Ventures. Kind of funny story. My first guitar teacher, Mark Scatana, the first two songs that he taught me on guitar were the Ventures, Walk Don't Run and Pipeline. and that was kind of Eddie and Al's one of their first bands that they liked. So Ventures, Dave Clark 5, Cream, ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin, the band Cactus, and Deep Purple. So, Brad, any other influences that I may have missed that you think they followed?
Oh, look, the Cream one was one that I thought of a big influence, especially on Alex and Ed, definitely. But yeah, all the ones you mentioned, I think that pretty much covers most of the ones I can think of.
How about you, Andrew? Any you can think of?
No, I think you pretty well much nailed it. But I just want to obviously echo what Brad said after having, especially Alan on last week. Just going through those Clapton Cream licks, that Eddie nailed, and those licks that he played right through to 84, even on OU812. So, yeah, huge influence. I just want to take it just a little bit sideways, because on one of the Van Halen groups, they were talking about Alan Holdsworth. And there were a lot of guys that were saying that actually, let's not confuse Eddie's support for Alan Holdsworth as separate from him being an inspiration or being inspired by Alan. Do you have any opinion on that, guys? Because I thought that was an interesting thing too, because I always read where he spoke about Alan Holdsworth, early on, especially. He mentioned him in a lot of interviews, but how much of an influence was he really?
That's new to me. I knew he always liked Alan, and he kind of evolved a lot of his playing to what Alan did, but I didn't know it was an early influence. Maybe I may have missed something.
Yeah. Well, it's just a point that I just caught in, and I can't even remember the group, but I thought it was an interesting point that I was going to raise with you guys, because I'm not aware of how much of an influence he is. So yeah.
All right, we got a trickster in the chat, Johnny Bean.
Wow.
It looks like he's made me into a 8-year-old boy.
Wow.
He must have some sort of app.
See the resemblance. Wow.
God. Nope. That's before puberty.
Oh, Black Salami's full of the compliments for the show tonight.
Black Salami, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you hit the like button and follow us every week. We got great shows at least 2 to 3 times a week for you to spend your evening watching. All right. So before we dive into the band getting signed, Andrew, I was going to do a quick slideshow on some of Eddie's gear. That's cool.
Yeah. Go for it, bro. That's what we're here for.
Okay, give me a second here to get this queued up. Man, there's a party going on here.
Hold on, bro. You got it. Where are you? Here it is.
Can you see it?
There it is. I can see it, bro.
All right.
We can see it.
So Eddie's either second or third guitar was this Gibson 68 Les Paul gold top. He had always wanted a Gibson, obviously, with his cream obsession. And in Pasadena, it was really hard to come across Les Paul. And finally, one showed up in the local store, and it had P90s in it, and it was a gold top. And he had his dad go down, and I'm assuming his dad paid for this, and then Eddie paid him back with the paper route. But on the left here is the actual receipt for the gold top that they purchased. What'd they pay? $662 for this gold top. And if you guys look ahead, Eddie eventually routed out the bridge pickup in 72 and put in a humbucker because he wanted that Eric Clapton humbucker into a Marshall sound. So this is an actual picture of Eddie's gold top. This is one that someone remade, but I just thought it was kind of a cool display of a gold top with P90 and a humbucker PAF in the bridge. So this is kind of what Eddie's guitar looked like in 1972 before he got further into his gear. Here's a few photos off the Greg Renoff Van Halen Rising book. The first 3 photos are a little blurry, but that's actual gold top with the humbucker in it. And then later, he actually painted the gold top black and sported a black Les Paul with a pickguard for a couple years. Here's a couple more photos, Brad, of that Les Paul painted black. You see Eddie there on the left with a nice scarf. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool seeing these old club day photos. And then his next guitar. So I don't know exactly when he got the 335. There's stipulation on whether it was an ES 335 or it was an ED 335. Not sure exactly, but it did have the Bigsby Bigsby tremolo on it. They say that he took the bridge pickup out of this and put it in the original 78 Eruption or black and white Frankie. But this is a kind of a photo of his Sunburst 335 that he had. He actually sanded this thing down and totally ruined the finish. He also cut the Bigsby tremolo and had it to where it would only bend the 3 high strings, and the first 3 didn't go with the tremolo, so he ruined it. But his theory was that if he hit the whammy bar, he would only knock the 3 high strings out of tune, and he could still finish the song with the top 3 strings. So he completely ruined this guitar, and these things are probably worth $8, $9, $10,000 now, right, or more. And then next, he bought Ibanezdestroyer. These things went back then for $600, $700, $800, and as you guys know, Ibanez in the late 70s, they copied Gibson and they copied Fender, and everything was made in Japan, and you could get a light guitar for under $1,000. And Eddie got this Ibanezdestroyer, and he loved this thing. And he played it quite a bit in the club days. These are some pictures of him playing in the club and him playing in some outdoor venue. But this thing had Sinwood is what it was called, but it was supposed to be kind of real similar to Carina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And originally it was just stained. He painted this thing a couple times, and I think that, my opinion, and I'm not a luthier, but I think the more layers of paint you put on a guitar, it could affect the tone. Because he did struggle with this thing not sounding as beefy as it did when he bought it brand new. So after probably a year, he painted it white. And he actually took the volume knobs, and Alan Garber talked about this last week on the show. He took the volume knobs off his Fender and put them on this, and he put the knobs on this on his Fender. But there's some cool pictures back there, Brad, of a couple Marshall super leads, and I'm not sure what the 2 next to his head that have a kind of a lighter colored fabric on it. Do you know what those are?
No, they just look like Marshalls as well. Not sure.
Yeah, and then you see that orange amp.
Yeah, I was just
I didn't realize they had amps back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time in the
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, there's the destroyer, and then he took the bridge off and put on a brass 2-pneumatic bridge as well, because I think it came stock with chrome. So a few modifications that he did on that thing. 61 Fender Stratocaster. This thing was in sunburst and in black. There's theories that this thing could possibly be the Frankie. I believe that it is. If you see in the first picture there on the left, he has the speed knobs off the destroyer that he put on this Strat, and then he put the white fender knobs on the Explorer, so he swapped them. But there's a white humbucker in that Strat, which later on you'll see he has a black humbucker in it, and maybe a zebra too. So he was obviously fiddling around with different, pickups in the bridge. And real quick, if you look down at that photo on the left, there's a mark on the lower horn in between the two screw holes. You see that mark, people?
Yep.
So that's going to come into play a little bit later in some of these photos that prove to me that this is the Frankie. Here's a couple more photos. As you can see, the destroyer propped up against one of his cabinets in the background on that top photo. That's a pretty cool shot with that Strat in a sunburst color. Down below, it looks like that Strat's black, and it almost looks like it has a binding on it. There's another photo in the middle there where it's sunburst, and then here's one where it's unfinished. There's a few pictures here from Bo Shanahan in '77 that has Eddie playing a Strat that's unfinished. But people that are really into the evolution of the Frankenstein say that that's ash wood. Just you can tell by the grains on the back of the body there. Then, of course, you can see his Marshall super lead down there and the World War II practice bomb with his effects in it. I don't know. It's kind of cool, Brad, if you look behind and see his there's 4 cabinets and 4 amp heads. He was always tinkering and messing with stuff. So pretty cool pics.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's another one. That's the Sunburst Strat, and you can see the mark on the lower horn right there. Couple old vintage Marshall cabs, and I'm not sure what those 2 are in the back, if those are Marshalls or not. They look a little bit lighter.
Do they look smaller, like orange cabs, Andrew? You reckon?
Well, can you magnify that, Rev?
Let me go back here.
Okay. Because they do look like orange cabs.
Trying to get here.
That's okay.
Let's see. Here we go. There you go.
Oh, I think those are orange cabs. Those are they look like orange cabs, man.
Yeah, they do, don't they, Andrew?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, let me see if I can get back here. All right.
Hard to tell because the logo's been pulled off them.
Yeah. There's another shot of that Stratocaster in all black, and then it's got a zebra, a humbucker in the bridge, and then the 2 single coils. Look how far down the
middle.
Yeah, the middle's pushed.
Wow. That's almost like 5 or 6, maybe even 8 millimeters on the bottomy, and on that high, it's like flush.
Yeah, I don't know what he's
It's
thinking.
almost like the bottom one's wound miles away from the string deliberately. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, he may not even had it hooked up, because if you see where the typical volume knob is on a Fender, there's nothing there.
Yeah. So
Who
he's done what the Runmeister reckons needs to be done on a Strat, because he keeps on hitting the volume knob.
Yep. Duct tape Steve.
Duct tape. Shout out to Steve Anderson. Haven't done a shout out to Steve Anderson, the Runmeister. Thinking of you, bro.
Yeah. Love you, Steve. Okay, here's a couple photos of the eruption guitar. The one in the middle is a prototype, or a replica someone made. But there's a couple cool photos of Eddie, probably 78 tour. I mean, he striped that thing partway between getting signed by Warner Brothers and going out on tour. It wasn't striped very long before they got signed. Here's another close-up. This is a good one where it shows the holes that he originally plugged in that pick guard that he made. And then obviously when he decided to go one humbucker, he just picked that spot for his volume knob. And he used electrical tape when he taped that off to paint it. And then obviously the small stripes are pinstriping on a car. So those are stickers. And then the larger ones are tape. Okay, on this one, you can see on that other lower horn, Brad, I showed this to Andrew earlier. You see how it's scuffed again?
Yep.
My theory is there is a spot that wouldn't take paint. And that spot is on the Sunburst Strat. It's on the white and black Strat, and it's also on the red, white, and black Strat. So as it becomes red, it's still on there. Like the red paint doesn't even stick there. So if you look at some of the older pictures of when he painted it red, that mark's still there. So that's what makes me think that that's the same guitar. And then we were going to have James Gum on today, but he couldn't make it. They actually rented a choral sitar for the solo in Ain't Talking About Love. And I think later on, Eddie purchased one and had it in the studio. That's what these photos are. But Don Landy actually went out and rented one when they were tracking it for the album. This is a cool one, I think. This is a 55 Gibson Les Paul. Don't know if this guitar was used on the album or not, but Eddie used it in the photo shoot for the album cover that they did at the Whiskey. He actually took paint thinner to the top of this guitar trying to take the paint off, and he liked the way the swirl looked, so he left it unfinished. And that thing's got a P90 in it as well. And he still, to this day, that guitar's hanging in 5150 Studios.
Oh,
pretty cool. And then I don't know, either before they recorded the album or after, Eddie bought this bolt-on Charvel Explorer with a single humbucker route in the bridge, nothing in the neck. He had the Dano Electro neck on this thing for a while before it went on the Boogie Body Strat that he used on the Van Halen 2 album. But I don't know, he's trying to chase that. I think he was trying to trace that Destroyer sound that he had on the first album. So he was just trying something different. So that was another earlier guitar that he used on the tour. And then real quick, this is a prototype album cover. Warner Brothers did a photo shoot for the band before the album came out, before they changed their logo to the logo that's on the album. And the band hated this cover, and they thought they looked like the Clash. And Eddie and Dave were absolutely pissed, and they went to who was their manager back then? Was it Burl? Is that his name? Marlon Burl or Marvin Burl? I don't think he had the best interest of the band. And so the band went to Ted and said, hey, this is BS. We look like the Clash. We don't like this. And so they went to the Whiskey A Go-Go, and they set up a stage and did a live show and took a bunch of photos. And here's some photos from the photo shoot. Obviously, the one with Eddie on the left there made the album cover, but there's another shot of Dave. And then the one on the far right is the whole band during that photo shoot. So
yeah, those trousers that Michael's wearing on that photo cover, you know, you got to ban that photo cover just for the trousers he's wearing, eh? Jeepers.
I know. So go around the horn, Andrew. What do you think of Eddie's gear from 77 to 78? What's your thoughts?
Oh, look, you know, very simple. Yeah, you know, clearly, very simple. But what's always intrigued me, and we've mentioned this a couple of times on some previous shows, is Eddie wasn't scared of that practical ability that he had to make alterations to guitars. You know, a lot of guys, and if we're all honest in the chat, probably wouldn't grab a router or a chisel and have a go at munting out a Les Paul, you know, to put humbucker pickups in. You know, we'd probably think about selling it, you know, and you know, and getting something. But you know, what always amazes me is that Dutch attitude, obviously, that Eddie had of making whatever you have around you work, and that's it's a cultural thing, I'm sure, because all my Dutch friends that I grew up and went to school with, you know, it was just used to amaze me that they would use everything or anything around them to get something done. So we see that with Eddie. He's not afraid to do something, to experiment, and I think that's something that we need to remember, because you know, we appreciate him for being a great guitar player and this musical genius, but he did all that work himself, didn't he?
Yeah, there was nothing out there that he wanted, so he figured it out himself. You know, that's what I
James,
admire about him, for sure, is that all of us, I mean, if I look at all the guitars in here, they're all kind of modeled around all the hard work that Eddie put in. You know, who knows what sound I like? I'm going after the sound that he liked versus doing my own thing. And I give him props for sticking to what he wanted and what he did. Yeah. And he always was chasing that, which was cool.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's obvious to us all because we're all Van Halen nuts, but we're here to talk about it. He was a guitar tech. I mean, an amplifier technician as well. You know, it didn't scare him to pull an amp apart and fiddle with an amp. When was the last time anyone here biased their own amp?
In this book, Ted says that him and Rudy were constantly tearing guitars apart and rewinding pickups in the studio. No one talks about the fact that they were rewinding pickups in the studio to try to get the sound that they wanted on the record. Everyone thinks that he threw a humbucker in, you know, the Frankie, and that's the one he used for the next 8 years. But no way. I bet you he had 7 different humbuckers in that sucker.
Good point. That's a good point to remember. It's there. That was not just one pickup. Good point.
Yeah. So, Brad, what about you? What did you think looking at some of the gear and where he's come from and what kind of he did going to recording this album and going out on tour?
Well, he was a tone hunter. He heard a tone in his head that he was chasing. He wasn't afraid to find it. He just tried whatever he had to do. He wanted to try ideas that pop in his head. He'd give it a go. I mean, he ruined a lot of things as well, trying to get what he thought might work. But, you know, like you said, you know, everyone seems to chase that tone that was in his head. So who knows, you know, there might have been more than 7 humbuckers he tried in that thing. You don't know. He might have tried, you know, someone might have said, try this one. He tried it for a day and went, no, that's coming out. It sucks, you know?
Yep.
And that was kind of how ruthless he was with gear too. If he didn't like it, he was like, that sucks, it's gone. And next thing. So yeah, he was the ultimate in chasing tone and finding it and making it happen. So that's, I mean, you see from the early days what he was doing with his gear. He was chasing something, you know. He was chasing, started with a Les Paul, you know. He ended up on a Super Strat that, you know, no one was doing that to Strats at that day. So what he was doing to a Stratocaster, he wanted the playability of a, you know, guitar with a bar on it, basically, that sounded more like a Les Paul or Gibson, the Ibanezdestroyer. So, you know, that was a beautiful guitar, and, you know, he was doing things to his guitars because he was chasing something. So he learns a lot, and I guess at the end of the day, the tones he put on his records, I mean, what he was doing to his amplifiers, how he's getting those tones, trying different gear. You see, he probably ran all those different amps on stage, probably was trying different things every night with his gear. And it's a testament to him. And I mean, I've always been under that. I've always, through the years, you know, bought new gear. And then I've realized you can, you know, with the gear you've got, you can make it work if you dive your head into it and have a crack at, you know. And that all stems back to, you know, guys like Ed, who were all about chasing that sound and trying to find what was in their head, you know. I mean, he was forever chasing tone anyway, even, you know, probably to the day he died, he was still chasing tones. Let's be honest, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of people didn't take, you know, stomp boxes in the studio either. You know, some of those effects they would add later. And if you listen to, you know, some of the isolated guitar tracks, he was putting the flanger and phaser in the mix, which was different, you know, than they do nowadays, because he used it, you know, to the way he was playing. But yeah, it's crazy. His tones change too from year to year, and one of the things about this album is he never liked the tone on this album. It wasn't his favorite, and I think the band, you know, conformed to Ted, where they did what he said, and they didn't really do what they wanted to do until Women and Children First. But yeah, I agree with you, Brad. He probably put a bunch of different humbuckers in those guitars, and he doesn't remember. And imagine if I were to ask you, what tires did you have in your car when you were in high school? Would you be able to tell me?
No.
Yeah,
I wore out that many rear tires on my first car, mate. I wouldn't know what went on it.
It's the same thing with him. I don't think he remembered. You know, he didn't care. He was just all about what sounded good.
Exactly. He'll be able to tell you exactly how many cars and what cars he had, but yeah, you know, the details of the car. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Look, I just want to chuck this question out there to my co-hosts and everyone else in the chat. And again, this is not disrespectful to other guitar players that we admire and follow, but could you imagine John Petrucci or Steve Vai in the studio with some copper wire winding some pickups up? No, you know, John Petrucci, obviously, when he talks about his guitars, and every year he comes out with a new model, Majesty, and a new set of pickups, you know. So obviously it's about capturing market and all that, you know. But John Petrucci talks about how he goes back and he talks to the engineers and tells them and asks them, blah, you know, whereas, you know, Eddie, the opposite, was actually doing it himself. You know, it wasn't until later on, you know, when he was talking about these Music Man guitars where he was probably talking with, you know, who's the guy? Damasio. But, you know, he had that practical hands-on ability which a lot of guitar players today would never do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and Ted talks about it in the book, that most artists that he brings in there, they try to capture magic or get a bunch of stuff, throw it on the wall, whatever sticks, we put on the album. With Van Halen and Eddie, it was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Let's hurry up and get it on tape because it's album ready. And he talks about how he didn't have to tweak any of Eddie's sound. He was ready to go. And I talked about this on a few shows back, but my favorite line is where Don Landy and Eddie are micing one of his cabinets, and Don Landy says, okay, I want to get this mic as close as we can to the cone of this speaker. And Eddie, without even asking Don, grabs a box knife and cuts the cloth right off his cabinet. And they basically set the mic within touching distance of the cone of the speaker. And he was like, he didn't even think about it. He just did it because he knew that's what it was going to take to get the sound that they wanted. I mean, I couldn't see Brad doing that.
No. Could you imagine Brad allowing you to do that on his Marshalls, grabbing out your box cutter and just? I really think this mic really needs to be a little bit closer to the cone here, Brad. Oh, yeah, no problem, Rev.
I love it. That's my favorite story. That just like sums up Eddie on who he was, you know.
Yeah, I don't think he wasn't attached to his equipment like a lot of players are. They were just tools of the trade.
Yep. And most
So
guitarists.
I've got one other question.
I've got one other question. In the studio like he did.
I've got one other question I want to ask you guys. So we all know that Eddie was never happy with the tone on this album or his sound, but that doesn't detract, obviously, our admiration and respect and love for the album. Does that have any effect on the way that you listen to the album when you found out guys that he didn't like? Because I never knew that for years until, I don't know how long, but for years. And I kind of remember when I heard that thinking, oh, really? Yeah. So yeah, did that affect your experience with the album when you came across that quote?
For me, there's other Van Halen albums that I prefer the tone on his guitar. So for me, it didn't surprise me that much when I found that out, but I still love the sound. It's not like I dislike his guitar tone on that record, but there's other records he did later that I feel that his tone was more refined and they captured it better.
Yep.
So that's just how I feel about it. But, I don't want to sort of knock his guitar tone on it either, because I think it still sounds fantastic. It's not like it's a terrible tinny guitar tone. It's quite big. They captured it, but it's not quite refined. As they went on recording, I'm sure Ed probably found ways that he could capture his tone better as well through miking techniques and all sorts of things. So it's just that development stage, the first record they got in, they did some fantastic work on it, and it's the best they could get at the time. So
and the famous panning, the Rev will know this. You pan it left or right to get.
Yep. His guitar was panned right, but then there was a faint echo on the left. So most people think that it's all right, but it's actually both. It's just an echo on the left.
Yeah.
And they put his Marshall in the reverb room, and then they also ran it through the plate reverb as well. So they got double reverb. And it's kind of funny that we're talking about this now. I just got this pedal Monday, and I don't know, are you guys pedal guys?
Yeah, it's dabble with pedals. Yep.
And Brad doesn't need this because he's got two massive machines behind him, but I picked this pedal up for $30. I plugged it in, and you get a hell of a Marshall sound out of the Yamaha.
Wow.
And I also get a pretty sweet Marshall sound out of my PV VPR, but I'm building a pedal board because I want to be able to take it with me if I want to go play. I picked this. Sure. You guys ever heard of Mosky?
Heard of it?
Yeah, they make I heard of them. Yep. They make a brown sound pedal. I picked up this Plexi M distortion pedal. It sounds pretty good, and this is the setting I have it on right here. So the gain's at like 1 o'clock, tones at 3, and then level is at probably 1:30 or 2. Pretty sweet little pedal if you're looking for a Marshall Plexi sound, and it's tiny. I mean, look how small it is. Little mini pedal, pretty cool. Goes right with what we're talking about tonight. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that he didn't have the gain cranked up on those Marshalls. You know, they were, I mean, to me, on my 2 amps, it's like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I don't know about you, Brad, but that's kind of what I hear. Is that what you hear?
I'm hearing a lot of volume.
Yeah. Yeah, and like saturation.
A lot of volume, a lot of tone. There's a slight bit of sag to me. That's what I'm hearing in his Marshall. So, you know, whether that's a power thing, I'm not sure. I don't know if there's any information around like that or not. But it sounds like there's a fair bit of sag on that Marshall. It's a unique tone. The first 2 records are. I think, like from my preference, out of the first 2 records, I think the second album guitar tone's a little bit better, maybe. But I think maybe they picked up from the first record what to do on the second one, guitar-wise, maybe to capture it a bit better. But his sound also changed between the first and second a little bit too, because that was part of who Ed was and what he did. He kept changing things all the time. So, yep. But
and Brad, you're right. It is the rhythm was, what did you call it?
What do you mean? It's like a sag in the Marshall tone.
So the rhythm is very sagged because he had that variac turned down on the rhythm, which gave it a little bit. He called it like a power soak, so it was like there was a little bit of a drag in it, and then he had it turned up to where it was pushing the envelope. And then the 2 of them, and if you think about it now, he was trying to emulate the wet, dry, wet sound by getting the rhythm and lead part with a different tone. Definitely. But obviously he had to follow Ted's and Don's direction. But a lot of reverb, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it goes with the music on that album because a lot of Dave's lyrics and vocals are heavy reverb, so it almost matches, you know.
Personally, I think the guitar tone is perfect for that record. I couldn't imagine it with a Carnal Knowledge tone. You know what I mean? On that record, it wouldn't suit it. It's perfect because it's just what we're used to. It's what it is. But I'm not a massive fan of the thing of hearing the echo on one side and the guitar on the other. But I am, because of that's how it is on the record, so I'm used to that. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't. There's no way that I would think. I could imagine the Almani different to that, if that makes sense. But but I still like his guitar tone on the record and everything. I'm not knocking it at all. It's just I think he refined it. Ed was obviously he's chasing tone. I mean, and then when he started hooking up with Kramer and then Musicman and Peavey, and then obviously his own through Fender. He was still even developing things and changing things and refining things right to the very end, from what I can tell. So, but that's the thing. I mean, he changed that things around so much in the early days. He might have stumbled across what he thought was closer to what was in his head. changed it again, forgot what it was, and still kept that continual chase. But it's the old testament to guitar players. We are tone chasers. That's what we do. I don't think we're ever going to buy something and then that's right, because you're still going to want something different that you're hearing in your head. You're always going to chase it. But Ed was the type of person who would do whatever he had to do to try and find it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, shifting gears here a little bit, my theory is that Warner Brothers got Van Halen on a low ROI, right? If you guys know what that is, return on investment. I believe that they got a sweet deal with this band. They got the Motown deal, right? Which is 90% of 90 cents. So they had to split 90% of less than $1 5 ways. So it was Ted and then the 4 band members. So I honestly believe that Warner Brothers knew that they got this band for cheap, and they gambled thinking they could be big, and we got them for a steal. So let's throw everything at them. And whatever they do, it's going to be only printing money because we have no heavy investment in it. They recorded the album with $40,000. They did it in 3 weeks. It was very cheap to throw them out on tour. They mixed the album really quick. So I believe that they had the overall package of signing the band, putting the album together, and throwing them out on tour. They didn't have a whole lot of money into it. And I believe that they were like, hey, as big as this band gets, we're only going to make money with them because we don't have that much of invested into them. And so that took Van Halen to an advantage because Warner Brothers had him by the balls. And it was a no loss for Warner Brothers. So they got him for a deal, and they felt like they were hot. I think Ted knew that they were going to be the next big thing. And after they recorded for 3 weeks in the studio, he was telling, the executives at Warner Brothers, hey, this band's good. They're talented. I've never heard a guitar player play like this. When we signed Van Halen, I feel like we signed the guitar player. So they were kind of at the mercy of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was in the driver's seat, I guess is the best way to put it, when they got the album done and they threw them out on tour. And they knew in the contract that they were going to get another 3 albums out of them after tour. And it was basically they didn't have much to stake. And Van Halen, I hate to say it, but they printed Warner Brothers probably a ton of money. And if you guys get into the Noel Monk book, he talks a little bit about renegotiating that contract with Warner Brothers, and he knew that the Van Halen brothers got a BS deal. But according to this book, Ted got more royalties on Van Halen 1 than the 4 band members did. And that changed as they got into the newer albums. But Ted has more royalties on that first album than the band members do.
Yeah, and look, I agree with you, bro, and I think your articulation of those points is fantastic and on song. And I think that's why the first album has a lot of reverb, because it was important for Ted to make it sound like it had been worked in the studio. It was important, and one of the ways that he could do that was by having that reverb. If it was going to be a dry sound, it was just going to sound like a band just been recorded, and there was no influence or input from him as a producer. So change the sound of the band remarkably, because apparently they didn't sound like that live. And that was going to have some kind of, flow on for him and his reputation as a producer. Look, this is the sound that I've done. This is me. This is my work.
Yeah. And Andrew, have you seen the Red Looney Tunes albums?
No.
Yeah, so they had some promo albums with the Looney Tunes. That's all folks on the front cover, and the actual
Fruitcake.
the vinyl was red.
Oh.
And the reason they made the vinyls red is because they thought it would catch the eye of the DJs and they would play that album more. So whenever the record company had a hot band or someone they thought was going to be a big hit, they would print these albums red. And let me show you, I have a red album real quick. It's not Van Halen, but hold on.
No problem. Thank you, Fruitcake Tony. Appreciate you, bro, watching us. I watched your channel the other day. Thank you, Tony. Check out Fruitcake Tony's channel.
Yeah, it's really good.
So this is one of my favorite movies, Top Gun. But back in the day, they did these albums were red. So the reason they made them red is so they would stick out in the DJ booth, and the DJ would think, oh, I haven't played a song from that album in the last 2 hours. So the record companies would print these red albums on these hot bands, and that's what they did for the Van Halen first album. They had this Looney Tunes logo on there because they hadn't even done a photo shoot yet. But they were almost like throwing everything at this band because they wanted to make as much money as they could. Top Gun 2000.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait for the remake or for part 2. Can't wait.
I've been waiting 1.5 years for that thing.
Yeah. Same.
Come on, baby. Come on. Danger zone.
So $46,000 to make that first album. Ted and Don wanted to capture everything raw. Most of the band would go into the studio. They would try to, create magic and capture magic on a record. No overdubs. They wanted the album to have that live feel. That's why they did the big reverb. It's because they wanted to have that live, stadium or hall sound. They actually put the band really close together in the studio because they wanted to implement them being on stage. Of course, David Lee Roth was in a vocal booth, but they put him in the closest one where he could see the band while he was singing. One thing a little bit different on this record than the others is they actually had Dave sing along with the band, and they tracked all that stuff but didn't use a lot of it. He came in later and tracked a lot of it, but some of the vocals that they tweaked and he wrote was actually when the band was tracking those songs on the first 4 days, which I have a breakdown of that, which we can get into a little bit later. But Eddie was right next to Alex as if they were on stage. Eddie had he wanted to have that tight feel with Alex. He hated wearing headphones. Eddie said that he felt like he was in a contained when he had headphones, so he wanted to be able to follow Al's lead and almost be like what they were on stage. I talked a little bit about this, but David Lee Roth took vocal lessons from Pasadena Community College the summer before they recorded the album. On his final, he had 5 songs that he had to do to pass the class. One of the songs that he did out of the 5 was Ice Cream Man, which is kind of cool, which I wonder if that inspired them to put it on the record. I'm not sure. Let's see. Ted wanted this album to be up and playful. He said he didn't want any gloomy songs like Voodoo Queen or House of Pain, which is on the 25 song demo list, which we'll get to in a second. I'll pull it up here on the screen. But he said he wanted a Southern California Sugar Rush candy sound. He wanted the songs to he wanted songs like Feel Your Love Tonight, Ice Cream Man, and Show Your Love. He wanted that upbeat type of music on this record. He didn't want to get into the deep, dark music, which some of the stuff they had. So he picked the up songs, which, as you guys all know, a lot of the music that Van Halen puts out is got that upbeat. But then he also says there was also room for shadows, which would be the dark stuff, with Running with the Devil and some of the other stuff on the album. But one cool thing I think about this album is they almost tracked it as a quartet. Dave in the vocal booth, and then after they tracked everything, the band would come in and do that like barber quartet doo-wop, which I'm going to play a little bit of vocals from the recording, but it's incredible to hear the harmonies and backup vocals on this album, which totally takes them off the heavy metal scene. That's one of the brilliant things I think that the band did and Ted did, was the harmonies is what took this band off the heavy metal radar. So what do you guys think of that? Do you agree?
The harmonies for me always, when I think of harmonies and amazing harmonies, I always think of the Beatles. And these guys were like the Beatles of rock for me with their vocals and harmonies. You know, I always heard, you know, they always came up with very unique, quirky backing vocals as well, not necessarily just mimicking a line. They actually had certain parts of songs. So that, you know, the more I listened to Van Halen, I related a lot of their vocal stuff harmony-wise, you know, from the Beatles. I reckon that might have even influenced them at some point.
Right. What about you, Andrew? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with what KMX Rock, you know, let's not forget the Beach Boys too as an influence, you know, being Californian, you know, these guys would have been surrounded by those harmonies, second nature to these guys, absolutely second nature. In fact, probably, you know, they were doing that right from the get-go in those backyard parties, those backyard gigs that they were organizing. Feel Your Love Tonight, Jamie's Cry, you know, it's there. It's just, it's magic. It's American.
Yeah, you know, Jamie's Crying, you can hear a lot of, like what I was referring to before. It's not necessarily just a mimicking harmony or something that they're doing. There was specific, you know, background vocal parts and with lead vocals and call and response type things a little bit as well. So, yeah, that's very Beatles to me when I hear bands do that.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to play vocals only so we don't get flagged. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. I think some incredible vocals from David Lee Roth. So bear with me, guys, here while I tee this up.
Let me talk about you cold when you were headed for the skies. But you were young and bold, and baby, didn't that change with the wink of your eye? Now no one's talking about those crazy days gone by. No one talks about that time you cried. Little dreamer. Little dreamer, and then they went and they voted you least likely to succeed. I had to tell them, baby, you were all with all you need. Seems no one's talking about those crazy days gone past. Weren't they amazed when you were feeling? You are the little dreamer.
Crazy. Have you guys heard that version before?
No, I've never had the isolation like that, no. But it's, a little teaser. That's probably my favorite song on the record, musically.
Bad.
Amen, brother.
I told him, baby, you were armed with all you need. So how many girls did you sing that song to?
I know. Earlier, I told you guys that this is like David's masterpiece.
Mm.
Yeah. Ted Templeton was he sang backup on that.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Took no credit for it. So, first song that they recorded in the studio on day one, which was August 30th, was Atomic Punk. And I'm going to play a quick snippet of that real quick, if you don't mind, guys. Give me a second here to cue it up.
Isn't his sense of timing? His sense of his sense of timing is just like phenomenal. It's unique. Very few players that I hear play Van Halen stuff pull it off. I don't know. Caleb's still here, but I know he's got that sense of timing down because it's like in his DNA. But you see a lot of guys on Instagram playing Van Halen, and I hate to say it, sometimes it annoys me because they're not picking up on what was special about Eddie, and his timing was phenomenal. And so Caleb, there you go, man. I think you pull it off, man. It's amazing. But
have you seen any of the footage from the '78 tour when they do this song?
Yeah.
You know what Eddie's doing? His foot is going like this.
Yeah.
It's bouncing all over the stage, and it's his timing. He's got the different time.
Yeah,
like his rhythm is incredible.
His sense of timing, like where he puts the especially even like his bar work and stuff, where he does his bar work, and where he's putting the little things between the timing, which is what makes it unique, I think. So it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's incredible. If you haven't heard the isolated tracks for Atomic Punk, it could be by itself. That's how incredible it is.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys think of what do you guys think of, like, when you listen to that, and we're all guitar players here, and then you listen to that and you think, yeah, I can play Atomic Punk, I can play it. And then when you listen to that, you go, I can't play it like that.
My biggest problem is the bar. I can't grab it and dive.
That's what I'm saying. Where he puts that stuff is unique, man. That's not like just someone pick up a guitar and they start going, boom, like in the right spot. It's like grabbing it really. It's unique, but it was natural to him. That's what made him unique.
On top of putting your other foot on the flanger pedal to get the treble boost on it, and incredible.
Yeah.
So that's the very first song they recorded in the studio. Day one was that song.
Wow.
Which I know we're going to get into the tracks, but I thought I would just kind of run through them all in the order that they recorded them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. They did the whole album in 7 days.
That just goes to know what level they were at. And for young guys, that's pretty amazing.
And I think what I read in the book, Brad, it was the first 2 days they just let him jam and get used to the studio and get used to the ambiance and the the setup.
That's Ted Templeton. That's the unique aspect of his involvement, because he realized that, he wasn't going to be this taskmaster, that we've heard other producers have done with other bands. All credit to him, making them feel at home, that welcoming. Huge.
Yeah. So August 30th, they did Atomic Punk. August 31st, they came in and they did, this is I looked it up. They did Feel Your Love Tonight, Running with the Devil, Ain't Talking About Love, and You Really Got Me. They did all of those 4 songs in one day. They did You Really Got Me in 2 takes. Done. I'm going to play a little bit of Feel Your Love Tonight real quick, if you guys bear with me.
All right.
All right. I think that's with the Ibanezdestroyer, would you say? Right? That thing was growly.
Yeah, growly. And like Alan Garber mentioned last time, his playing's a bit different when he plays the Destroyer. He's playing the way he plays, because there's no obviously bar, and he compensates for not having a bar with his fingers, I think, the way he bends and everything like that. So it slides into the notes and things, or slides out of them. So I think that's, listening to that, it sounds like the Destroyer. Maybe Alan, if you watch this later, if you're not in the chat, you can confirm that for us, because he seems to know.
He will. And then real quick on You Really Got Me, of course, the horns were all 4 of the band members' car horns. They completely ripped them out of their cars and put them in a box and added a battery to it and put it to a foot switch. And they actually had it on stage and used that. So if you hear some of the club stuff from the whiskey, you can hear the car horn thing. And Ted heard it and he loved it, and he obviously used it backwards to the beginning of Running with the Devil. So September 1st came in the studio, day 3. They did On Fire, Ice Cream Man, and Show Your Love Tonight, and I'm the One. So another 4-track, 1 day. So they have literally 3/4 of the album already done in 3 days.
Wow. Good night, Thomas.
So then, good night, Thomas. And then September 2nd, they did overdubs and rhythm guitar tracks for, I'm assuming, these 7 songs. And then on 9/4, they did Little Dreamer 1 day. They did that whole song, finished it completely. September 5th, they did Jamie's Crying. And then on the 6th, they did Eruption. And they were done. That was it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, boys. They had all the tracks down. And then after that, it was just vocals and mixing.
Wow.
That's insane.
And Brad, you've done some recording in your lifetime. I mean,
yeah.
What's it take nowadays?
It's almost like chalk and cheese, man, trying to compare. It's like everything's tried to be so perfect, click tracks, this, that. Like it's a different world of recording now. It's not the, most of the recording processes I've been through have been more organic than very, like, let me say, built on a click track with the drum and then building on top of that. A lot of the recordings I've done in the past have been a band playing. A lot of it's been to a drummer playing along to a click track. These tracks, none of this would have been done to a click track. Not a single song. It's what gives it a bit of feel, and I've always been, there's a pluses and minuses to recording with click tracks and things like that. I'm sure Van Halen, as they went along, they might have started recording with clicks and things like that. Maybe I'm not going to say they didn't. Al even made a joke on Balance that he wasn't going to record Was a Big Fat Money without a click track. So maybe they were using clicks here and there. But there's definitely the energy in the field. There's tempo fluctuations, but for the most part, Al's pretty on the money with his drumming, and the songs require a little bit of tempo movement anyway. That's just how I always find songs like this early Van Halen stuff. That's what they needed to get the vibe, and that's like, I mean, we were talking about Appetite, same thing, but the recording processes these days is fairly based around being everything perfect and a wall of sound, and it compressed up too much. And classic example of that is, and I love this band, the Foo Fighters. All their records are up front, like a wall of sound. The compression's up, everything's just up front. There's no space, so they sound that way. And then you listen to like a Lenny Kravitz record, even like what he did a few years ago. There's space in the music. It's old school as opposed to modern techniques. So I still find, recording, try and do it more old school. That's my favor. Like, if, I'm going to say when, not if, when I get to a stage where I'm recording in decent studios, I'm going to try and capture more of that live feel, because I think that's where the magic is. And that's why I reckon these records have got so much magic to them, because they just went for it. It wasn't about being perfect. They just went for it. Yeah. Made the best record they could.
The click track was in the DNA of Alex and Eddie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got a drummer like Al and a guitarist like Ed, whose timing is unique anyway. So why would you try and ruin that with a click track trying to keep everyone in time? I've done tiring recording sessions with band in the studio where everything's to a click track, the drum is perfect, everything's perfect, and it sounds stale. So, that's what I'm saying is the whole point of it for me is you can hear the music being recorded live. They're not worried about the timing. They're just going with the vibe of the song, and that's probably more the point.
See you, Simon.
Yeah, it's more about the vibe for me.
Right. On Alex, he used to bring this 16-inch tom case into the studio. It was retrofitted as a cooler, and he could hold a half rack of beer in it. So that guy was, obviously we all know he liked to party, but he actually took a tom case and retrofit it to where he'd put ice and beer in it. And I also heard a story where he had a suitcase or like a briefcase that he took into an after show, or maybe it was NAMM show, and he opened it up and it had beer in it, cold beer in his suitcase. But Al was a party animal. But back to Al and Ed, they truly were, their DNA kept the tempo. And I can't remember if we talked about this on when we did 5150 or not, but Sammyhagar had a hard time following Ed's rhythm on, I think, Best of Both Worlds, because it was dun 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 dun. It was kind of like progressing up, and he didn't know when to start and when to stop. And Ed said, "Hey, let me tap on your foot with the rhythm so you can follow it, and then you know when to start singing. So I think Eddie and Alex kind of had an unorthodox rhythm to them that Dave and Michael and Sammy and Gary probably had to keep up with, because it wasn't probably wasn't natural.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a good point. Sorry, bro.
No, I was just saying Al has definitely got a natural swing to his feel anyway with his drumming. It's not straight drumming. It's very percussive, in my opinion. There's more swing to his playing. You know, you can hear his influences come through, but obviously he's Al. His timing's Al.
There you go. Johnny says Al brought a suitcase to Nam full of beer, and his buddy Mike saw it. That's where I heard about that. Was on Johnny's show. But yeah, pretty crazy. I think they caught lightning in a bottle. That sounds too cliche, but they really did. Ted and Don caught lightning in a bottle with these guys in a matter of 7 days. It's pretty incredible. The problem is Ed showed You Really Got Me to the band Angel prematurely before they got done mixing the record, and Angel tried to come out with that same song on their record and forced Warner Brothers to release the Van Halen album earlier than they wanted to, and Ted was pissed at Eddie for showing someone else, and he's like, "Did you show anyone any of the songs we did?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I thought you wanted me to." And he's like, "Damn it, I knew I shouldn't have let you go home with those tapes." I mean, Ed was proud of what they had put down. Little did he know that there's lurkers out there that want to steal your thunder. So they released.
Well, it's a business. It's a business, isn't it, bro? You know, first and foremost, you know, yes, it is your passion. It's who you are as, you know, you're a musician, but jeepers, guys, you know, we're trying to conquer the world here.
Yeah, definitely. I think they were more focused on, you know, Ed was not the type. I don't think they were as business minded, and that's, you know, they were just proud of what they were achieving or whatever. So,
right.
Yeah.
Just like the broadband, Eric. So they end up releasing the album on February 10th, which was probably a little bit earlier than they wanted to, but I think it was good timing. It was, what's crazy, it was actually a year after they had been signed by Warner Brothers, which a lot of people don't realize, that there was a whole year that went by before they actually released the album and went on tour. The singles, Andrew, You Really Got Me was the first one that they released on the 28th of January, which was a huge hit. We all know about Ted's theory of, you know, you do a cover, you're halfway there. The band did that song a lot in the club days, and it was just natural for them to put it on the record. It was a perfect single to be able to put it on the radio. In the Greg Renoff book, he talks a lot about how he made a mistake when he did the Montrose record, where he didn't put any single songs on that record, where he wanted to make a bunch of hits on this one. So You Really Got Me came out in January. Then the second one was Running with the Devil, which came out in May 6th, 78. A lot of people thought that Running with the Devil was a satanic reference, which it actually is not. David Lee Roth's reference to this song is actually talking about a band on the road, and the fact that if you're a band and you're on the road, you're running with the devil, and the fact that you're not home causes you to make poor decisions. So it has nothing to do with satanic, whatever. It just talks about a band on the road. And then Jamie's Crime was the third single, which came out May 16th, 78. And then late October on the 25th, Ain't Talking About Love was their last single. I was going to show a couple pictures, if you don't mind. If you want to, there you go. What do you call that?
Hey, Alan. Present.
Present. Thank you. We'll show a few pictures from Martin Popoff's visual biography of Van Halen. If you guys don't have this book, it's a great one. But we'll show a couple photos from the club days. Whoa, shoot. There we go. So there's Dave with his striped pants, and, of course, Reverend Al on the drums and Mikey on the bass. Here's Eddie with this is actually an Ibanez Flying V. I don't know how long he owned that guitar, but as you can see, he's changed the bridge pickup to something else. But
What's that?
That's the only photo I've seen with that Ibanez. So I don't know, maybe if he borrowed it from someone.
What's that bass Michael's playing? Is it? Can you read the headstock? Is that a Fender?
It's a Fender.
Okay.
I don't know shoot from Shinola about basses, but yeah, that's a Fender.
I think it's a Bronco. Oh, Telecaster bass. Okay.
Here's another pic. We saw this one earlier.
Cool.
That's the actual photo of Eddie, and then you can see Diamond Dave and Michael Anthony with this jumpsuit. Here's a cool pic of the band. I think this is prior to them getting signed. Fairly young. I mean, look at DLR. Look how young he is. And Michael Anthony as well. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's on the first tour. That's fabulous shot of Eddie with the eruption guitar and his Marshall in the background. And then Michael Anthony looks like he's wearing one of my grandma's blouses with bling on the neck. And the bell-bottom pants. A few backstage passes there. Here's a cool photo, guys, which you should love. Eddie with the Frankie wearing those maroon bell-bottom pants, and then Dave up there being Dave. All right, here we go. Here's the infamous Explorer at the Sharp version, I guess, which he says he painted it around the same time that he painted the Frankenstein white and black, which I don't know. Is Alan in the chat? He would know. I have a hard time believing that he painted the Frankenstein white and black and then did this one. But he says he painted it around the same time. What I've read. Here's some pics of Day on the Green. Kind of hard to see. This is a cool photo of the band at a record signing, probably at some record store in the Midwest. Just the band being the band. It's kind of cool. Let's see here. Oh, I was going to say, here's another pic. After revisiting the Greg Renoff book, do you guys remember when we were laughing about Alex having the gas mask on the back of his drum set?
Yep.
Do you know why they did that? In the club days before the band came on, they had two people fire off two fire extinguishers behind the drum set. And Alex wore the gas mask so he could sit there and start playing as the fire extinguisher dust settled, and then the band came out.
Did you guys also notice too that the Reverend had the yellow ribbon ripped from the family Bible glued into the spine of that book that he was showing us? Did you notice that? See? That's glued in there from the family Bible.
Real quick, we'll show a couple more pictures. Inside Magazine, and you guys get these?
No. No.
Yeah, this is back in the late 90s. They had the Inside Magazine. I have all of them. This is talking about the first tour. We'll show a few photos here real quick if you guys bear with me. Running with the Devil. Got the band here. Looks like Eddie's got the Ibanezdestroyer, and then Alex up there on his drum riser. A couple more cool pics of the band right here. Just show you pics from the tour. In this, I'm not going to go into depth in this, but this is actually itinerary from the first tour. Talks about the next city, where they're going, what hotel they're staying at, where you can go to dinner, where you can get your laundry done. It's basically kind of the itinerary for the road crew. It's kind of cool. Oh, and here's the platinum. This is when they found out they went platinum. Wow. I think this picture was taken in a hotel. This is the whole band plus the management. So Warner Brothers sent them a bunch of gold records, and they took that while they were out on tour, as the album was doing great. Here's a few flyers of the tour with Journey, Montrose, Pat Travers, Foreigner, Aerosmith. That was probably Day on the Green, which will parlay into this photo right here, which is my favorite. I need to get this thing framed. You guys seen this one?
Wow. Yeah.
Iconic photo. I got to get this framed. I should probably try to find another one of these magazines and then pull out the centerfold. Check out the cabinets right there.
Mm.
All right. Cool. More here. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go. There's Eddie, Dave. Of course, this is Day on the Green when they no, it wasn't Day on the Green. When did they do the parachute stunt? I guess it'll tell me right here. Anaheim Stadium, September 23rd. Of course, that's when they faked the airplane jump. There's a quick photo here, real quick, of Madison, Wisconsin. Of course, that's when they totally trashed that hotel.
Yeah.
Mad, Wisconsin. And in Van Halen 2, they apologized for ruining the hotel. Yeah, this is one of my favorite photos right here of Eddie.
Yeah.
And then this is a cool one, too. It's like a back shot of Eddie on the stage with the fans blowing on him. There we go. And then the band. That's all I got, boys. It's we've been going 2 hours. What do you got? You guys got anything?
What do you mean going 2 hours? We've been just about bloody 3 hours.
3 hours?
Lose an hour. Look, thank you, Rev. It's always a pleasure to be schooled by the Rev, and to be participants in the knowledge bearing, and the initiation into the dark depths of a twisted Van Halen mind.
I've got a theme song. I've got a theme song for you, Rev. Running with the Reverend.
I know. Running with the Reverend. You guys got to think. I was born right after they got finished recording that first album, and then of course it went platinum on my birthday. So like I was destined to be a Van Halen fan.
28 million albums sold.
I think so. The last I looked, it's so hard to tell now with the digital stuff. Let me check here. But next week we'll go into track by track rankings and deep dive into each song, which We just shown the tip of the iceberg on what I know.
Awesome.
56 million albums.
50. Oh, where did I get 28 million from?
80 million worldwide.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
well,
incredible.
I was miles off the track then.
Yeah, they're actually, they haven't sold as many albums as I thought they would have.
Still a lot.
Yeah. Robot, the recipient of the first ever T-shirt draw gift prize that we've done. It's a pleasure to have you here. We'll touch base with you in the chat. Sorry, in the
Discord. Ding.
In the Discord. Yeah, I'll talk to you, bro. I'll get your information. If you can, want to give you a couple of things to think about. You can jump on if you want and do your unboxing with us. You're more than welcome to do that. Or if you can't do that, if you can take a video of the unboxing and pass it on to us, we'd appreciate that, so we can show that, because you're in history, man. You're the first ever winner. You're our number one. Oh, okay, right. We're out of here. Okay. All right. The Rev's got to go and eat some dinner. I've got to go and take a dog for a walk. Brad's got to go and eat.
Yeah.
It's been a absolute pleasure hanging out with all you guys in the chat. I'm just going to go through quickly while the Rev's eating his pizza. Robot, thank you, bro. KMX Rock, Nelson, it's a pleasure. Johnny Bean, Daddy Bean,
Johnny, here's your pizza right here. I haven't touched it.
Halen Fanatic, thank you, bro, for joining us. James Stewart. Alan, thank you for popping in while you were going to go and have a pee. Thank you. And he's going back to bed. Who else have we got here? Who else? Sonia, Simon, Thomas Santiago, Fruitcake Tony. My gosh, Mark Tannerell. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us. I'm going up here. Who else have we missed? Renus, thank you. Jeepers. Girth, Brooks.
You can't say Renus and Girth in the same sentence.
James jumping in. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to hanging out with you guys. We'll see you next time. Tomorrow I'm going live with Brad and Simon. We're going to do a deep dive into Let It Bleed, the Rolling Stones album. We're going to talk about that. So if you want to hit the notification button and join us for that, that'll be great. I'm going to say thank you to my co-hosts, to the Rev and to Brad. Thank you, bros, for joining us. Brad's going to be doing an unboxing with us live soon as well. And
for the neck.
Yeah. And hopefully we can have Robot on. Brad, what do you want to say? And then we'll give it to the Rev to sign us out.
Thank you guys for everyone for joining us today. Yes, thank you so much.
I miss Caleb. Sorry, bro.
Congratulations.
And I miss Derek. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Shut up now.
Caleb?
Yeah, everyone. I'll cover everyone, Andrew. I'll say thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for being part of it. We love what we do here, and we're just glad that everyone enjoys what we're doing. So it's just basically three guys hanging out with you guys in the chat, having fun. That's what it's all about. Talking about, Van Halen. That's all it is. We're getting schooled by the Rev, and everyone in the chat joins in. So thank you so much. Do us all a massive favor and give us a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe if you haven't already. And, we look forward to deep diving into the tracks and giving our rankings. And we want you guys to join in the chat and give us your rankings. See how far off we are,
All right. Well, it's 12. It's 12-12 here in where I live, which Robot Master Switch number was 12. And he won the T-shirt tonight. I'm going to go to bed, do some light reading with these books. Any of you guys want to learn anything about Van Halen? Kevin Dobbs, Eddie Van Halen, A Defined Biography. Van Halen 101 is another good book. Van Halen Rising. Van Halen Encyclopedia. And a visual biography if you're ever sitting on the porcelain throne and you just want to look at pictures and not read, this is another good one. Sharpen the saw. It'll make your less swings on cutting the wood. Love you guys.
Oh my God. Stay safe.
Oh, geez.
We're out of here. We're out of here. Stay safe.